The job will be done when these are destroyed.
Okay, burn them up.
Fallout has always been a series that wears its influences on its sleeve. Wander the waste long enough and you'll run across an Easter egg sooner or later. They're all reminders of the media that brought the series into existence. Of course, nothing permeates the essence of Fallout more than the general zeitgeist of the 1950s, particularly sci-fi films and books of the decade. Everything is a reference, an homage, or a parody of something. Fallout isn't just inspired by the 1950s, it exaggerates and satires its most defining fears and beliefs.
Crusade for freedom is your chance and mine to fight communism.
From the hatred of communism to rampant consumerism and an overflowing sense of American pride, Fallout stretches the decade's quirks, flaws, strengths, and oddities to present a world that feels distantly familiar, sort of like a hand from the past reaching out, but some of the fingers have fallen off. With the emergence of nuclear weapons at the tail end of World War II, humanity found itself living in a new age of atomic wonder, fear, and uncertainty.
The atomic age was born.
Anxiety over this new technology began to seep into all walks of life. The bomb was equally feared, respected, and misunderstood.
All men of goodwill earnestly hope that a realistic control of atomic weapons can and will be achieved.
In the post-war world, the idea that nuclear bombs could produce horrific mutant creatures seemed just as real as apple pie. Science fiction flicks and B-movies of the decade all rushed to invent new and terrifying monsters. Giant, dangerous, and usually given a healthy dose of radiation, these creatures were almost always common pests that turn into man-eaten titans of destruction. Fallout took those silver screen monsters of America's golden age and introduced them to new generations as hideous, vicious mutants that roam the ruins of America.
They're big, ugly things that crawl around on 6 legs.
A direct reference to the hit 1954 film Them, giant ants are exactly as described in Fallout.
Always say they're fucking ants.
In the film, giant ant colonies are being established in the southwest United States and attacking local towns. The mutations of the ants is explained as coming from residual radiation left over from atomic testing. The film, like many of its era, placed great importance on the role of government in dealing with these world-ending threats. Often, the hero, usually a brainy type or figure of authority, will be joined by a plucky team of scientists, army men, and government agents who beat down the monsters to save the good old US of A and its way of life. The giant ants in Fallout, hit by the one-up mushroom cloud of atomic fire, have the same basic ideas.
Those big things. They're all over Greatitch, and they killed everyone.
It's not uncommon to find ant colonies all across the wasteland, and if you dare to venture inside, you're greeted by countless angry big bugs dying to eat you.
And no matter how many we kill, there's always more.
Rat scorpions, one of the first enemies encountered in the series, appear in every Fallout game. Another example of nuclear-enhanced creepy crawlies taking on new and violent characteristics. Influence for these creatures could most likely be the 1957 film The Black Scorpion. In the film, 2 geologists are sent to investigate a volcano in Mexico. Things soon turn sour, and the heroes find themselves fighting against giant, prehistoric scorpions. The Mexican army and the scientists must then work together to stop the scorpions, as well as giant worms and spiders, hell-bent on terrorizing Mexico City. In the Fallout universe, the rat scorpions that inhabit the waste range in size, color, and behavior. Their venom is ubiquitous, however, and a big enough threat that the town of Shady Sands, with a little help from a wandering vault dweller, developed an anti-venom in the 2160s.
Right dangerous, those things. Just as soon take your head off as look at you.
Introduced in Fallout 3, Mirelurks and their distant cousins, the Lake Lurk, were designed to resemble an old rubber costume monster so commonly seen in the 1950s. These mutants are often found near rivers, ponds, swamps, or in flooded caves and metro tunnels. The Lake Lurk and Mirelurk kings take heavy visual influence from the famous Black Lagoon film series. In the film, scientists stumble upon a mysterious paradise known as the Black Lagoon. However, things soon turn deadly as the lagoon's inhabitants become obsessed with a female scientist. Mirelurk and Lake Lurk kings are lightly armored compared to their cousins. These bipedal monsters attack with sonic waves, closing the distance to their stunned or crippled target to rip them apart with their claws. Regular Mirelurks trace their origins back to crabs, and their hardened shell can withstand nearly everything. Their only weak spot is their face. These creatures make a distinct clicking noise and prefer to hide in dark and damp places, waiting for a hapless wastelander to stumble in.
Here are monsters with razor-sharp claws that hand grenades and dynamite cannot stop.
Attack of the Crab Monsters is a 1957 film that follows a group of scientists studying radiation effects from the Bikini Atoll nuclear tests. As they work and slowly get picked off, the crew discover a previous expedition was killed and eaten by mutated crabs. These mutants are nearly impervious to standard weapons and can speak telepathically by absorbing their victims' brain. As the film ends, 2 survivors are left standing on the ruins of the once great island alone.
But a wise hunter would search the mantis's breeding ground.
Since the early days of Fallout, mantises have been found all over the wasteland. Taking influence from 1957's The Deadly Mantis, rumors swirl in parts of the Mojave Desert that mantises spawned from genetically enhanced experiments in Vault 22. Found in old buildings, on dusty trails, or deep inside caves and vaults, mantises leap at their prey, slicing with their razor-sharp legs. In the film, U.S. soldiers in the Arctic disappear, leaving only a mysterious torn-off piece of an insect leg behind. Soldiers and scientists must then work together to determine what the creature is and how to kill it in a race against time.
There is no more deadly or voracious creature than the praying mantis.
These four mutants aren't just some of Fallout's most iconic, they're reminders of an era when nuclear fear fueled America's most terrifying creatures. 1950s sci-fi and monster flicks are loaded with all the themes we see in Fallout. Looking back from a modern perspective, it's easy to take these old films as propaganda, pure cheese, or just relics. However, the best of these films, just like Fallout, were trying to warn mankind about the dangers of a new and devastating technology being misused.
What we'll eventually find in that new world, nobody can predict.